SCP-3629. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures, in accordance with Parallel Civilizations Procedure 8C10 and the terms of the Foundation's treaty with the SCP Principality, the human SCP interactions of SCP-3629 will be permitted to continue. To reduce risks to secrecy or of situations like Incident 3629-1, these encounters will be arranged through a Foundation-designed service which will include surreptitious surveillance software to detect and interfere with any attempts to publicize information about the SCP. TTT. Description: SCP-3629 is a pattern of interactions between a small community of humans in New York City and certain individuals among the subterranean SCP population 1 in that vicinity. These respective parties voluntarily seek each other on dating applications, most frequently Tinder, for the purposes of paraphilic sexual activities. Like many smaller spiders, the SCP have substantially larger females than males, and the males, which are non-sapient, are frequently instinctively killed and consumed during or immediately after mating. To lessen the risk of this, the males tie the females up with their silk, and so in at least 70% of natural matings, the male survives. Because it is a part of the mating process, SCP females find being bound highly pleasurable. To avoid depleting their own population of males, some SCP engage in sexual activities with humans, and SCP-3629 refers to this interspecies cooperation. Humans, being approximately the size of a SCP female and not biochemically similar to their prey or their males, are resistant to SCP venom, and indeed experience euphoric hallucinations when injected with it. To facilitate these encounters and meet proficient and interested humans, SCP create profiles on dating applications, with an estimated 2,100 profiles on Tinder and only about 150 distributed across OkCupid, FetLife, and Christian Mingle. As the SCP know that humans are not generally aware of their existence, these profiles do not explicitly identify the SCP as such. The humans involved in SCP-3629 are drawn primarily from the New York City bondage community. These individuals are informally vetted by both the SCP and established members of this community, and are instructed in relevant information regarding the non-humanoid physiology of the SCP. It is believed that 90 humans have taken part in SCP-3629. SCP-3629 came to the Foundation's attention in February 2018 as a result of Incident 3629-1, after SCP investigators contacted the Foundation regarding a case they believed involved a human, in which SCP had gone missing after participating in SCP-3629. Some relevant documents are reproduced below. Interview 3629-3, to learn about SCP-3629 from a human perspective. On February 16, 2018, Agent Sebastian Allen interviewed Manny Lee, whom the SCP had identified as a regular participant in SCP-3629. He was not believed to be a suspect in the disappearances, nor was he believed to have any knowledge of the anomalous outside of the context of SCP-3629. Also present at the interview was Investigator Chizithrada, the SCP liaison on the case. Note that as they are unable to vocalize English, SCP communicate by text. Agent Allen: Mr. Lee, I'm glad you could make it. We'd like to ask you some questions about the Silk Master community. Manny Lee: that's... I'm sorry, officer, but I can't talk about that. Agent Allen: are you worried about retaliation? My branch of NYPD liaisons with and addresses problems among New York City's less traditional inhabitants, including the SCP. We have reason to believe a crime has been committed, and anything you can tell us will help. Manny Lee: okay, so you know, but do they know you know? I've never heard of the special crimes posting. Do they know about you guys? Agent Allen: I believe I may be able to allay your concerns. Allen leaves the room and returns with Investigator Chizithrada. Agent Allen: this is Chizithrada, our SCP contact in this case. She can remain here while we talk to confirm that I don't ask you about anything they'd rather us not hear about. Investigator Chisithrida, grinning face grinning face grinning face. Hi there Manny. Grinning face grinning face grinning face. Investigator Chisithrida, I'm basically a spider cop detective U200D female sign Spider. Investigator Chisithrida, Sebastian and his people are good people, and they are helping us with our investigation. Explain to them the trysts you have with our people, Manny Lee. Well, as Chisithrida says, look, how much do you already know about this, Agent Allen? Only the basics, but we'd like to know more about the group and how you got into this. We've been in contact with them for a long time, but the SCP-3629 tend to share information only when they think it's relevant. Investigator Chisithrida, winking face. We like our discretion. But tell them, Manny Lee, okay. I'd been a part of the kink community for a while, both here and in Portland. Tom and Diane organize a lot of events for the local scene, and at one of these a year or so ago, Diane asked me to try a session with her where I tied her up according to some very specific and weird instructions and with something like a dozen tarantulas crawling on us. Screening, you see, Agent Allen, forgive me, investigator, but Manny, I would think a lot of people have problems dealing with the SCP-3629. Tarantulas are quite a bit smaller, Manny Lee. Yeah, a few people drop out when they meet the SCP-3629. But by that point they've been sworn to secrecy. That's actually the other way I was vetted. Tom told me something false, as it turns out, but explosive, and told me not to tell anyone about it. That I didn't is why I had the spider scene with Diane, Agent Allen. Sensible. So what happened after they decided to bring you in, Manny Lee? Well, first understand that the scenes I've been in are usually pretty tailored to an individual. But there's still commonalities, patterns: how to tie someone so they can breathe and won't have joint issues, establishing safe words, the sorts of materials and toys, how to end the session. That's all different with the SCP-3629. Diane showed me the various binds on a volunteer, I think Irishes, as well as how to use webbing, and the safer ways to get a hit of venom from an aroused SCP-3629. Better for her, too, so she doesn't sit around tied up too long. Investigator Chisithrida, oh, Irishes. She's a bit face blowing a kiss, face blowing a kiss, face blowing a kiss. Agent Allen, sorry, getting a hit of venom? How is that safe, Manny Lee? Safe enough, and absolutely worth it. That stuff is just beyond anything else. Yeah, a couple inches of fangs going into you has its risks. But they patch up the punctures as if they were never there. Agent Allen, investigator, you're using your medicine on random civilians. Investigator Chisithrida, I'm so sorry. Should we leave them riddled with holes? Or would you prefer we ate them? Agent Allen, you know very well what we'd prefer. Investigator Chisithrida, face with tongue. Agent Allen, we can leave that. Manny, Mr. Lee, tell me about how you arrange these encounters. Manny Lee, Tinder. Agent Allen, Tinder. Public-facing Tinder, where anyone, totally unvetted, could talk with one of the SCP-3629. Manny Lee, I guess, but it's not like they have real photos or say hey, I'm a giant spider. Investigator Chisithrida, we have our own laws. Investigator Chisithrida, if they follow the way of Chaltiri, we'll follow the Tinder terms of service. Manny Lee, there's other cues, like the picture being some woman with a spider tattoo or with spiders crawling on her. Some of these are from the scene. Diane appears a bunch, and these days they'll usually say Silk Maiden somewhere on the profile. That's I guess what's become the name for this community, Silk Masters and Silk Maidens, though I guess you know about that. With us, we'll sometimes say Silk Master, but personally I found that attracted questions when I'm surfing for normal humans, so I mostly use the chat to let them know that I'm on the inside. I do make clear I'm pretty into bondage though, which gets the SCP-3629 to swipe right and avoids incompatible humans. Agent Allen, I see. Are you usually able to find a match, Manny Lee? Always. This is really popular with the SCP-3629, so there's tons of them for each of us. Investigator Chisithrida, Index pointing up. You stay on. We don't, Investigator Chisithrita, we stay satisfied. But you humans are so horny, face blowing a kiss, Investigator Chisithrita, a whole species of Irishes, Manily, okay, yes, that reduces the imbalance. Every SK Kithy I've met with drops off Tinder. I think they come back on eventually, but we're talking like a year. Agent Allen, do you ever remain in touch with one of your dates to continue social relations? Manily, no, that's not what I'm on Tinder for, Agent Allen. So these dates, where do they take place? Manily, their place, usually, Investigator Chisithrita, Sebastian, we take them no further underground than we take you, Manily, yeah, there's elevators or firemen's poles or something. They have these hidden trapdoors all over. I meet with the night's partner at one of those, she grabs hold of me, then we fall. It's not dark down there, but I don't know what the lights are. Officer, it's vast, Agent Allen, please continue, Manily, their homes, those I can understand. You'd expect giant webs, but they're more like our houses, only in caves. Most of the appliances I recognized. I guess if you can use Tinder, you can use Amazon. I do the session with my date, and I'll usually spend the night, since the venom takes a while to wear off. In the morning, she drops me off wherever I need to be. Handy for getting to work, Agent Allen, could you meet above ground if you wanted, Manily, in some places. The first place I met one of the SK Kitha was in the studio, and I've done a scene or two there. I gather Leo has a tunnel into his basement. But my apartment would be completely impossible. I'm on the 6th floor, and the SK Kitha are pretty serious about their privacy. Diane makes sure we don't do anything that might bring them down on us. We add her on social media, share our Tinder password, clear any photos related to the scene before putting them up. But it's better than what the SK Kitha do. Sorry, Investigator. That's why I didn't want to talk to you about this. I've heard of people who just shared photos vanishing. They said we couldn't even tell our families, Investigator Chisithrita, it can't be allowed, Investigator Chisithrita, they do live. We're not monsters. Angry face with horns, Manily, officer, you said there had been a crime. What is this about, Agent Allen? Mr. Lee, do you believe you could remove a SK Kitha from her home to the surface? Investigator Chisithrita, not possible, Manily, I agree. Maybe if she was already pretty well bound, I could move her, but up a vertical shaft? I don't think I could make it back up myself, even if I did know the way. Investigator Chisithrita, what about an ambush on being picked up or dropped off? Manily, in most of my sessions, my date resists being tied up, but that's play acting, half fighting. I couldn't subdue a truly uncooperative SK Kitha. Maybe with friends. Or weapons. But I've seen shed exoskeletal plates, and they're really tough. Even with a gun, I don't think I could stop her from at least getting back underground. Have SK Kitha been going missing? Investigator Chisithrita, yes. Angry face, crying face, Agent Allen, fine, we can tell him. So that leaves. Unless, Investigator, could they still be somewhere in your city? Investigator Chisithrita, we would know. Investigator Chisithrita, assuming it is a human responsible, none of you could foil our methods. Agent Allen, let's stick with that assumption for now. Mr. Lee, it then seems that the only point of vulnerability would be during a session on the surface. Do you know of anyone who preferred to have their dates up here? Manily, maybe. As I said, a few people with ground-level homes have passages in Leo, Colleen, Muhammad, probably more, and I think Benjamin K is a claustrophobe, so he mostly meets at the studio. So yeah, him. But almost always we go under. Look, mood and atmosphere are really important for this kind of thing, and it's just not the same here. Agent Allen, I think I see. Have you noticed any unusual behavior by any of your friends lately? Manily, nothing unusual for them. Agent Allen, I believe that's everything, then. Investigator, do you have any further questions for Mr. Lee? Investigator Chisithrita, beaming face with smiling eyes. Thank you so much for helping, Manny, beaming face with smiling eyes. Investigator Chisithrita, Sebastian may want to interrogate you further at some later point. Investigator Chisithrita, I may want to meet you again for other reasons. Winking face. Investigator Chisithrita, if I'm not too forthright in asking, what's your profile name, Manny Lee, on Tinder? Geez, okay. It's Hung Manny. Investigator Chisithrita, I'll keep my eyes out, beaming face with smiling eyes. Investigator Chisithrita, I. Spider, interview 3629-6, on February 27, 2018, IAC gave the Foundation access to Tinder chat logs for human participants in SCP-3629 and for the missing SK-Kithe, in accordance with the plans from interview 3629-5. Agent Sebastian Allen met with SK-Kithe investigators Chisithrita and Iskaran on March 1, 2018 to discuss the findings. Agent Allen, good morning. Investigator Iskaran, Investigator Chisithrita. Tinder finally turned over the logs. Investigator Chisithrita, wonderful. Grinning face with big eyes. Let's take a look. Investigator Iskaran, Spider magnifying glass tilted right. Agent Allen, right. I guess we'll start off with the last to go missing. Let me know if you're having trouble seeing the screen. Here's the log for Kate. She met with 7th Walrus. Okay, I guess for the mustache, which seems to be the account of one Eric Theers. Investigator Iskaran, I've seen the name, Investigator Iskaran, but not one I've met. Investigator Chisithrita, he looks strong. Flexed biceps. Could he be a web? Investigator Chisithrita, I mean, bait. Investigator Iskaran, the name has been there for a long time. Agent Allen, I don't think so. He seems to have an account history, and I'd like to assume for now that our kidnapper isn't able to edit Tinder's files. Investigator Chisithrita, liaisons with both our kinds. I don't know the 7th Walrus, but I do recall Asirik being quite satisfied. U0001F92 so he's real and just started grabbing chains his partners one day. Are any of his humans missing? Agent Allen, I don't know yet. We can look into that. Let's go back to Katather's last meeting. Is there anything odd about these messages? Investigator Chisithrita, not that I can tell. He comes off well here. But every predator should be pleasing to her prey. Investigator Chisithrita, they met at the Studio Rise. Investigator Iskaran, that's relevant. We wouldn't travel from the Rise, so that must have been where Katather was seized. Investigator Iskaran, a definite magnifying glass tilted right. Was that where the other Spider were taken? Investigator Chisithrita, Sebastian, let's look at more. How about Espachia? Agent Allen, okay. Let's see. Her last meeting wasn't with Mr. Theers. Espachia met with someone named Teton. It says here her real name is Investigator Iskaran. Astonished face, astonished face, astonished face, anxious face with sweat. U0001F92M. Agent Allen, what is it? Investigator Iskaran, I met with her. Agent Allen, when? Investigator Chisithrita, with one of their females? Nauseated face. Do you think it would be okay to start eating people as well as fucking them? Investigator Iskaran, humans don't have true gender. They're practically identical. Both women's room and men's room are ignorant of the way of child tyranny. I see no difference. Investigator Chisithrita, they have the Tinder terms of service. If you got to know them, you'd see that. Investigator Iskaran, then wouldn't their menu let mind you also be people? And you call me a pervert, Agent Allen. Investigators, please, I don't understand this, but is it really relevant? Iskaran, Investigator Iskaran, you said you met with Ms. Willard Neeson, Teton. Was this for, SCP-3629? When was this? Investigator Iskaran, yes. and my fellow investigator will find nothing in Chaltiri to condemn that. Investigator Iskaran, I met with her 4 days ago, Agent Allen, that's well after SCP-3629 vanished. Did she seem uncomfortable or anything like that? Any indicator of anything wrong, any aggressive moves against you at the surface? Investigator Iskaran, I don't know how to tell if she was uncomfortable, but she was quite satisfying. Investigator Chizithrada, how did she talk to SCP-3629? Agent Allen, I'll bring that up. Oh, again meeting at the studio. That's definitely a theme. Investigator Iskaran, we met at a rise near her house. Agent Allen, are all of these meetings at the studio? Mind if I scroll through? Investigator Chizithrada, thinking face, go right ahead. Agent Allen, Iklaktai disappeared after meeting Rebel Star 929, at the studio. Sicharitai disappeared after meeting Lion Man Waist Down, at the studio. Chick, Investigator Chizithrada, magnifying glass tilted right is Lion Man Waist Down named Leo, magnifying glass tilted right. Agent Allen, Lionel Simcoe, yes, Investigator Chizithrada, we built a rise to Leo's house. He is in touch with the ground. There's no reason he asked to meet at the studio. Agent Allen, that seems to be where all the abductions have happened. We can search the place, but perhaps there's something there necessary for subduing the victims. Investigator Chizithrada, Detective U200DP $, I don't think so. Sebastian, Investigator Iskaran, might Leo and these others be imitated? Investigator Iskaran, a deception. It shouldn't be. Agent Allen, go back to the conversation between SCP-3629 and Titan. Agent Allen, sure. Investigator Iskaran, does not this remind you of 7th Walrus's approach? Investigator Iskaran, this was not how Titan spoke to me. Investigator Iskaran, spider web, spider angry face with horns, spider web. Investigator Chizithrada, U0001F9E00, good thinking. Investigator U0001F9E0, show your conversation with Titan to us, winking face. Agent Allen, we have experts on writing styles. I'm not one myself, but I can contact one. Investigator Chizithrada, you are a human. If Iskaran thought she saw a difference, you're sure to. Investigator Iskaran, my personal correspondences are not supposed to be a part of the case. Investigator Iskaran, but I can show Agent Allen. Agent Allen, okay, yes, that's definitely different than the SCP-3629 conversation. Unless she forgot how to capitalize letters between talking to SCP-3629 and to you. Okay, I think that's a good working hypothesis. Somehow, someone is getting onto the Tinder accounts of humans involved with 3629 and setting up meetings with SCP-3629 at the studio. Where? What? We got stuck here when Manny was here too. Chizithrada. Shouldn't the victim realize that it's not her date there and bolt back underground? Investigator Iskaran, no. Investigator Iskaran, you look the same. Investigator Chizithrada, U0001F92B. Investigator Chizithrada, more diplomatically, you look human. Investigator Chizithrada, when you're together, I can tell you apart. You have different clothes, skin, hair, size, but alone, it's harder. Especially since you change your appearance so much. Investigator Iskaran, she may have let herself be bound by someone else, Agent Allen, and then unable to free herself when they showed their true colors. Investigator Chizithrada, sad but relieved face. We have stories like that. Some are romantic. Red heart when the hero finds her binder is a shimmering drone with thick silk instead of the shedding old lurker who'd been around her nest. But in real life? By a human? Nauseated face, broken heart, broken heart, broken heart. Agent Allen, so we want someone with access to the studio, a way to hack people's accounts, and some reason for doing this. Investigator Chizithrada, flushed face, I think I know who. Investigator Chizithrada, Hung Mani said that out of fear of our displeasure over our seclusion being spoiled, he and his fellow Silk Masters let Bound to Please Diane audit their Tinder accounts. And of course she has access to the studio. Agent Allen, yes. I think we had best bring her in for questioning. And her husband Tom too, if she is behind this, he might be as well. The two of them probably know more about you all than anyone outside the Foundation, Investigator Iskarin, or the Global Occult Coalition, Investigator Iskarin, or the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Investigator Iskarin, or the Leaves of Winter, Investigator Chisithrata, U0001F92B. Now then, Investigator, let's leave some secrets for Sebastian to discover on his own winking face. Addendum 3629-6, following the conclusions of Interview 3629-6, Foundation operatives apprehended Diane and Thomas Mallory. Under interrogation, they confessed to abducting and imprisoning 6 SCP over a period of 3 months. Thomas explained that they harvested the venom from their victims and sold it as a drug. As SCP venom is not anomalous and the Mallories did not share the origin of the substance, no follow-up on the buyers is necessary. The victims were rescued from a property owned by the couple, dehydrated but alive. At the insistence of the SCP Principality, Thomas and Diane were remanded to their custody. Addendum 3629-7. Below are reproduced several Tinder profiles of SCP participating in SCP-3629. Footnotes. 1. For further information about SCP biology, society, and history with the Foundation, consult SCP.